I'm June Mickens from Executive Advantage, and this is part 2 in our Successful Strategy series. Check out part 1 on prepping to plan if you missed it. Today, though, we turn to the actual planning phase of the process. By now, you've laid the groundwork. You have a sense of desired outcomes and a pretty good handle on your starting point. How do you create a realistic plan, though? Let me offer 6 steps to get you there. First, invest the time. Sure, you could knock out your plan for today in a few minutes, but when you're dealing with broader-based strategy, more than a snatch of time is necessary. Devote sufficient time. Don't rush it. Give yourself and your team, if you're planning for an organization, the space to really work through the process. Involving the right people also is important. Ever have the blueprint for an assignment that you were to undertake just handed to you? Plunk, you were told just do it? Well, that experience might prompt one of 2 responses. Relief, because you really didn't have the time to map it all out, or ticked off, because you had absolutely no input into something you were tasked to do. If the ticked response resonated for you, you understand my note about including the right people. Planning generally produces more when it involves people slated to play a part in the implementation, or at least representatives of those units or interest or responsibility areas. These folks know the nuances, the strengths and challenges, the things that might not be readily apparent to people a couple of levels away from the trenches. So the involvement can foster more realistic approaches and can increase a sense of ownership. Also, involving the right people might mean having a strategic thought partner. This is someone who isn't in the midst of your mess. It's someone to help you recognize inconsistencies, identify potential snags, add clarity where it's lacking, pinpoint holes, just generally lend perspective. Such unbiased support is invaluable in the creation of meaningful strategy. So that's step 2. Let's move on to step 3, which is link the plan to the desired outcome. At times, a person or team will share a plan with me that really is just a random set of thoughts. There's little connection back to the desired outcome for the period. And without adjustment, in the end, these folks will walk away having done a lot of work, but not feeling as if they got anywhere. Now, we talked a little about this in the first video. There are always going to be some things you just want to do, and you should keep some of those in the mix. But for successful planning overall, every major goal should point back in some way to a specific result you're trying to achieve for the period. Speaking of goals, they need to be tight, and that's step 4. Again, goals aren't a random set of thoughts. They should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, you may roll your eyes at the use of the SMART acronym, but I am a witness. SMART goals usually are better able to be acted upon than loosey-goosey ones. And if you're planning in an organization, note that setting specific goals for the top level is only the tip of the iceberg. Universal goals get you going, but then each unit must take those top-level goals and translate them into unit-level goals in order to advance the overall direction. When you combine that top-tier planning with associated goals from all ends of the organization, then you have the makings of a successful plan. Next, to develop something you truly can implement, don't try to keep it all in your head. First, that is a surefire way to keep you up at night. I mean, remembering is hard work. It doesn't allow your brain to shut down. Second, There's just something about seeing ideas. They become clearer. You can grasp holes, reprioritize, visualize a course from start to finish in ways that you just can't when all of this is in your head. And documenting the planning allows you then to pass it on to others so that they can join you in the strategy development process. Lastly, step 6, communicate the plan. All too often, an organization invests time, effort, and dollars into developing strategy only for that wonderful creation to sit on someone's bookshelf, never to see the light of day. That is such a waste. To transform solid strategic thinking into successful results, you have got to share it. Talk about the thinking behind the direction that was set. Talk about why specific strategies seemed more appropriate than others. Talk about how the chosen goals advance the work. Talk about the particular part that each unit or each person plays in achieving success. And don't just say it once and think that that'll do it. You've got to talk and talk and talk some more, all throughout the process of carrying out the effort. Now, if you are planning solely for yourself, don't tune me out on the communication step. Talk to yourself. Okay, now you may not want to do that out loud. Folks will think you've lost it. But seriously, step back and walk through the plan so that you can take it in and begin to transition from planning to action. And because it's so easy to forget when you're in the midst of work and deadlines and craziness, reconnect with your plan periodically to remind yourself not only of what you're working toward, but why you chose the path you did in order to get there. So, as I leave you for today, remember to position yourself or your team for success. Don't skimp on the planning stage of your process. And if you could use some help, if you would like that strategic thought partner I mentioned back in step 2, don't hesitate to call on Executive Advantage. We would be honored to work with you to develop a winning plan. Now, before you go, subscribe to our channel to get alerts for future videos and subscribe to EA Insights for our newsletters. And don't miss the final part in the Successful Strategy series. Next time, we examine execution and measurement. Until then, all the best.